of that. They thought he was irredeemable because he supported Israel, and they would accuse him of supporting genocide. They think that because he was willing to call out black violence towards white people, that he was a racist, and that all of this stuff makes him an irredeemable white supremacist, bigoted racist that many on the left are actually going to celebrate. We shouldn't dilute ourselves into thinking otherwise.
They are celebrating it. There's already been photographs.
If this monster is ever found, which God willing they will be soon, I think they will be turned into a Luigi Mangione type figure. We're in an era of political
Not
violence.
Not necessarily. I mean, if he's prosecuted and convicted, Spencer Cox, the governor of Utah, said that he wanted to remind everyone that Utah still has the death penalty.
Yes. But what Elad is saying is that they lionize Luigi Mangione.
Yes,
he's a hero to the left.
Yes, they do.
And when they do catch this guy, the left is going to make portraits of him as a saint, and they're going to put him on their magazine covers.
And they're fake religious candles.
Indeed.
Charlie Kirk was more than just a political commentator. I think he was an American icon of conservatism. He was more than just himself. He was really a figurehead for conservatism, the new age of conservatism. He was only, I believe, 31.
31 years old.
Started when he was a teenager, built up.
Didn't go to college.
The most powerful political organization of our generation. People were just talking last year how when we were at TPUSA, parties were popping up. James O'Keefe had a party, as he does these parties at Turning Points.
He used to have great parties.
They're the biggest parties. Mm-hmm. And I'm talking to people saying, like, Charlie has basically built political. He's like, this is the beginning of a political South by Southwest.
Yeah.
This is huge.
Yeah. And then when he opened up America Fest, not just to students, but to everybody, people of all ages were coming to America Fest to hang out and meet each other. And it was a sort of revelation during the Biden woke era and all that. It was like, oh, wait, there's more of us. There's more of us who are not on board with all of this lunacy. We can hang out. We can have conversations and not be shunned and not be kicked out of our families here.
All of the side events that were being built up around it. Mm-hmm. And people were saying, this is bigger than the RNC. Mm-hmm. Turning Point has become
it was going to take over. Yeah. It was going to take over that whole realm.
If there's someone that is charismatic at Turning Point, it still could, because Charlie's the legacy that Charlie has left is something that a lot of people are going to coalesce around.
Well, I was thinking about this too on the drive over here, and I was thinking that the men who are next in line to Charlie's legacy are really going to need to step up, and really are going to be in that spotlight. Men like Jack Posobiec, men like you, Tim Pool, I mean, the men who are at the forefront of this and have been unafraid and have been speaking their mind, there's going to be a lot more light on them, and a lot more, perhaps more danger as well, which is sort of terrifying to think about. But it can't, what Charlie was creating is not something that the people of America can afford to lose.
Yeah, I'm thinking, what would he say if he was here right now? How would he guide people? And I'm kind of torn down the middle between the animal part of me that wants the vengeance and wants to find the guy and see a public execution. And then there's the part of me that's like kindness, compassion, forgiveness. These are what Charlie preached. These are the things he believed in. And that not to fall into the rage, because...
But what is...
There's a middle road there, though, Ian. Not just kindness, compassion, forgiveness, or unadulterated rage. Justice.
Yeah, but to cause pain on the victim, unnecessarily suffering, because that's more hellish.
Don't worry about the
not the victim, the perpetrator.
But what you are correct on is I would never purport to speak for Charlie, but I imagine as a rational and intelligent, powerful leader, he would say we have to be reasonable and rational in how we respond now. Trump is gaining tremendous victories. We have won electorally. The actions against Charlie are the moves of a desperate, fringe, psychotic ideology. They want to drag us down into the mud so that we break from the position that has brought us success. That does not mean we don't get justice. Utah, they said they have the death penalty, and they're going to find this person. What this means for us is we have to remain calm and collected and vigilant, working towards justice, finding the suspect, but making sure we do not allow wanton, random escalation. And that's what I fear. That an attack against Trump, for many of us, is terrifying, is shocking, it's offensive. Charlie was not a politician. Charlie was just a guy who had passion in politics and built up organizations to pursue those passions, but he did not decide how you would live or sleep. He just explained his ideas and he did it better than they did. And that was a threat they took out. Charlie, all today, going through the news and talking with our sources and our friends from various organizations, every phone call I was on was struggling through tears on both ends. It's because Charlie treated you like you were the best. It was very Christian-like, that he was there for you, whatever you needed. And so everybody felt like their best friend just got taken from them. This has the potential to be substantially more catastrophic than anybody else they could have targeted.
I think it's on the level of the assassinations of 68. I think that's where we are. I think that's what this is. MLK, RFK, both 68. What was it like? April and July, something like that. Yeah. And I think that's what this is.
You know what that did? It destroyed the hope and dreams of the kids in the 60s that thought JFK was there to help. And he was. He was there to step up against the military war machine and scale it down. And people believed and they had hope, and then it was taken.
And the people who believed in the civil rights movement, only to have Martin Luther King Jr. struck down as well.
By the FBI, is that confirmed?
I don't know.
The far left in this country seems completely emboldened to have vigilante justice against those who they view as fascists, which is anybody on the right. And unless, I don't know what the President Trump administration can do, I don't see how this, we're saying hearts and prayers. We're saying, this is horrible and this will have a huge impact. This will have a huge impact to hurt the conservative movement. I don't know where this leads, but this is a symptom of a larger trend. Well,
it's a trend do you remember Punch a Nazi? And then suddenly they decided we were all Nazis.
10 years ago, I was and this is when I was, before I was in the political world beyond Twitter. I'm a dude in a band, and I see people that I know saying, "Oh, it's okay to punch Nazis," and I'm like, "This leads nowhere good. This is going to lead us to a terrible place." And what I got back was, "Why are you defending Nazis?"
Right.
And it was almost ubiquitous in the music industry. It was for
sure the truth in the arts. I mean, it was true in the theater community in New York City. It was true if you remember I don't know why anyone would remember this, but in 2018, there was an exhibit at the San Francisco Public Library that had Punch a Turf, because they went from punch a Nazi to beat up women who don't think men are women. And they had a baseball bat that was covered with fake blood that said Punch a Turf on it. All of this stuff, it has escalated. And a lot of people were, being like, hey, that's crazy. And here we are, and they're assassinating, extremely wonderful young men.
So the question then is, immediately when this happens, our security team, they're contacting us. I assure you, every person in this space, their companies, their teams, they made phone calls. Everything's been dialed up as high as it can be dialed up. I mean, just a week ago, I was saying wow, things have calmed down. Where are the riots? It seems like we're winning. And I think this is what happens when it is perceivable that to everybody, including your adversaries, that you're winning, they take these desperate moves. The question for us is, I had an event planned with Alex Stein for October. It was a campus event. I had actually reached out to Charlie saying that, I'd love to do some of these if possible. We were planning more. This was earlier in the year, and so we were like, let's see what time we have in the fall. I'm super busy, so we found a date, and we're like, let's give it a shot. It's canceled. And
canceled it.
Well,
I'm glad.
I can't do it.
I'm glad you canceled it.
But now we also have these live venue events, and it looks like I have no choice but to cancel them, or at least I can't be there.
I'm not for or against you canceling them, but how would you respond to somebody who says that's them winning?
Indeed. And so the debate was, They are celebrating right now. Their Daily Mail has a video. I'm not going to show it.
Good.
Of leftists celebrating. A video's going viral. People have taken all these leftists. They're dancing and they're cheering. There are people outside of universities right now, and there's videos of them cheering and high-fiving and celebrating. They called for it. They're happy that it's happened, and they threaten me. And so the debate is, we do a show every night. I do a morning show, 2 morning shows, technically 3, because we break the interview up, and this nightly show. We reach millions of viewers. We can keep doing that, or I can risk dying to go to a crowd of 500. And so maybe you want to say, yes, they've shut down our public events and they've isolated us to these spaces. But what is the answer?
Terrorist one, we're terrorized.
No, stay inside.
Yes.
You got to stay inside. Kennedy got hit, John F. Kennedy, when he was outside, and they realized you can't parade the president out in the open anymore. So they stopped. Yeah. Guns are too easy to find now. And it's the same thing with your high-level political personality.
John Lennon was walking into a hotel.
Yeah, and
but guys,
there's nothing you can do.
Hold on, Elad, what you were talking about, like, they haven't won because you're not doing a public appearance. They've only won if you stop doing the show, if you stop talking about these things, if you stop bringing the opposing argument.
They've struck fear into your heart where you're scared to do in a public event that you'd otherwise do. It does feel like you're sufficiently terrorized.
If it's one person, it's totally different. If you're talking about putting a boatload of people into a room, other people that work here, it's a different thing.
Let me address that. It's not the fear of it. They literally killed him. The intent is clear, and the risk is not, I am scared of the left. It's that they are killing people.
You got to change tactics. It's not a loss if you change your tactics. If the enemy develops a new weapon in the culture war that's like artillery and your old position's no longer viable, you just remaneuver to a new position that's more fortified. That's understandable.
The big question is, so there was a story, and I told this before. I mean, I don't know if I should, but we were in Nashville, and we were going to go. I was gonna play music. I think Ian was gonna. We were gonna go to John Rich's Honky Tonk, and there was a security threat, which I won't go into detail on. And I was told we can't do the event because of this security risk, this threat against you. And then I said, they're not gonna stop me. They can't scare me. And then I was told, Tim, this is downtown Nashville, and there are children outside. If someone comes with a gun, it's not about you. And I went, I get it. Okay. If we go to this event and we say that we're going to be on the ground at this university and some lunatic shows up with a gun, it's not just me that's at risk. It's any one of those kids or people who want to show up too.
Well, and all those kids were fleeing. They were running.
Right. And thankfully nobody else was injured, but horrifyingly, Charlie, the leader of this massive movement, has lost his life. I certainly understand the anger you might feel over this tactic stops us from doing these university events because they're so powerful and important. But so there is a level of, if I would put it like this. If we were talking about a battlefield and you know that the enemy has assassins targeting your officers, you take your officers out of the risk and then you utilize other resources in these key areas. That is to say, campus events can still happen. It just doesn't need to be the highest profile of individuals. It can be among the students that are already there, which minimizes the risks and minimizes the target, but keeps the conversations going. So TPUSA can still keep these going without Charlie. It can be handled by local chapters who can carry on these debates and make sure we don't lose momentum. But I suppose it's the debate. I'm sure people are going to say, don't keep doing the events. And
inside with security checking guns at the door.
Not possible.
If they could get targets on the president, then anybody is capable of getting.
They can literally drone bomb your house if they think you're a domestic threat.
But let's be real. Like these events that we do, I have to drive in a car to a back entrance, go in and go out with security waiting for me because we were swatted 15 times one year. We've had the bomb squad multiple times. We've had a man show up claiming he was sent by God. There's other security issues that I'm not going to go into detail on because they happen every single day. So this is the challenge. Like my wife is obviously extremely worried when we we want to do these public culture war shows. We want to bring people and invite them in. And sure, we have security checking people and making sure people aren't coming in with weapons, which I actually don't like. I don't like that we have to do that because of me. But we can't even secure in DC. It's not possible. So this is like a major moment in this country that a lot of us thought could happen. We didn't know when or how, but we just really in the back of our minds thought it wasn't going to happen. Even though Phil and I talk about it every single night, there's no off-ramp. The escalation keeps getting worse. All day. Let me tell you the hardest thing was. We have friends in this space, and the only thing that I wanted to tweet was that Charlie was okay.
Me too.
Even though I was getting people hitting me up, and I got a phone call, and I didn't say anything because I didn't want to believe it.
Yep.
Because the only thing that mattered was that the AP said he was stable. And I got a call from someone, when the story is breaking, and they told me this is a top level person in the know, he is stable. And I tweeted that. A source has told me that he is stable. And then when I got the next phone call, I didn't say a word because there was nothing that would make me believe it. No, absolutely not. Until everyone else started posting it.
Well, at Post Millennial and Human Events, Charlie Kirk was integral with Human Events. He was a senior contributor. Jack is a senior editor, and Jack and Charlie are obviously really tight. And so, we cover his show a lot, and we watch his cold open every day, and we go down the list. We're like, oh, we covered that. Dang, we missed that. We'll go through. But Thomas Stevenson has connections in Utah, and he used to intern on the Hill for Senator Lee. And so, I called him as soon as I heard that the shooting had happened. And he was like, and it's his day off. And he was like, let me see what's going on. Let me find out. And he was driving. He pulled over to the side of the road. And I don't know how long he stayed on the side of the road, like trying to figure out what was going on, because he had also alerted us to this event last week. He was like, this looks like it's going to be a pretty good event. I'll see if people I know are going and like what's happening at it. We had reason to believe, based on the information that Tommy was getting, that it was not going to be good news. We had reason to believe that. And we saw other people posting like, a nurse said this, or hearsay from this person, or whatever. And none of us wanted to write it. And I was like, we're not writing this down until it's confirmed. We're not writing this down. If we're the last outlet to write this down, that's fine. We're not going after anything other than like accuracy on this one. And we were just stunned. Like, one of our office is fully remote, so everybody is all across the country. And one of the things that we do is bring everybody to a Turning Point event, like maybe once or twice a year, get as many people from staff out as we can, and like have a toast and talk in person. And that's just not something that we normally do. Like, it'll be months and months before I physically see anybody that I work with. So yeah, I mean, it definitely hit our newsroom a little hard. And I was so angry. I was so angry when I saw other outlets posting, like writing articles and sharing them, saying that he had passed before they had confirmation. Like, I was just livid.
I was having a hard time when I would see people tweet, there's no way he's going to survive.
I didn't like that
just
either.
Pray. Just
Yes.
believe he's healing in a bed right now. And then, but prayer works. They call it the placebo effect in science. No one really knows exactly what's happening, but there's something.
I went to church and I lit a ton of candles.
Some injuries are so great that it's like the spirits can't mend,
I just want to say, final thought on the issue of these live events. Guys, if our streets have become a battlefield, you don't run into the battlefield. If you are standing in an open field and you hear a gunshot, you get down and you find cover. You do not run into it without a plan. My point is, there are more effective means of being involved in this information without risking my life and losing all of the shows that we already do that reach a much wider audience over 2 live shows per month.
And your family needs you.
This is the thing about in war, if you want to consider this like a culture war or whatever, paramilitary action, you have to live like that, Tim. What you were just saying, your pride is irrelevant. It is survival. It is repositioning. It is defense, entrenchment, preparing.
It's not about ego.
I want to pull this up from the Daily Mail.